Hello, everybody. Welcome to Dale Sports Edition. This will be our Thanksgiving edition because we're doing this on Wednesday, the day before Thanksgiving. So before we go any further, me and Mr. Jones would like to wish everybody Happy Thanksgiving,
Happy Thanksgiving.
safe travels, and don't eat so damn much.
Or drink.
Or drink, exactly. Yeah, don't drink and drive.
This
Exactly.
is water.
Yeah, it's moving. Okay. Okay. It keeps on. Yeah, you got it off, or top you got off, or something. Okay. All right. We were just moving around. Okay. All right. So let's talk about the Thanksgiving games. There are three games to talk about. These are three big games, actually. Okay. Buffalo, favored by 9.5. Over and under is 54.5 playing Detroit. Now Buffalo just came off a win the other last week, and Detroit came off a big win against my Giants. The way I looked at that game was the Giants were looking ahead for tomorrow when they play the Cowboys. That's a game I'm going to be discussing in a minute. Okay, so it's 9.5 and 54.5 at Detroit. Now, if you know what happened last week, Buffalo had one of the biggest snowstorms they've had in a while. They had 6 feet of snow within 2 days, so they had to move the game to Detroit. So it seems with Buffalo, they're actually at home, it seems, because they're playing Detroit again in Detroit, so they basically haven't left Detroit in 2 weeks. So if you remember what the broadcast I did last week or the week before, I told you the two teams to watch out for was Detroit and Jacksonville. In about 2 years, they're both going to make the playoffs. This year, I don't think so, but they're a dangerous team. So I would say grab a half a point, grab 10 points, and take Detroit. I think the final score might be, I think Buffalo might win by 7. So if you want to cut it down the middle, give up some points and give up some money and take Buffalo with 7 and take Detroit with 10 and win both. Okay. Over and under 54.5. That's a tough one. So if you want to bother, I would say maybe under. Not really sure about that one. Okay. My Giants going to Dallas. Dallas is favored by 10, and the over and under is 45.5. Dallas just came off a big win over Minnesota. Basically, they kicked their ass. The final score was 40-3. Minnesota is a better team than that, but it seemed in that game the best offensive lineman got hurt, and Dallas took total advantage of that. Cousins looked like, sorry to say, shit. Not his fault. If your best offensive lineman is hurt, good luck. They just kept on blitzing and blitzing, and Cousins couldn't do a thing. It was just embarrassing. So, and the Giants, like I said, their record's, good what it is. Going into this game, 7-3, still, good enough. But and given 10 points, I think the Giants will hang in there. They might actually win this game. Now Dallas, of course, is going to go like, okay, we're 140-3, but let's not take things for granted. No, when you play a division game, going back to 2 weeks ago when Philly went to Washington and Washington, stopped the undefeated thing, so there's no undefeated teams anymore. So when you play within your division, I don't care what your record is. It's a divisional game. So I think this game will be close. I think this game might be decided by a field goal or a touchdown. So I say take the Giants in the 10. 45.5. It'll be close. I think it'll be like maybe 45, the total. So that'll be close. Okay, let's talk about the other game. That's the late game. Minnesota at home, given 2.5. Playing New England in 43.5. New England's coming off a win over the Jets. The last time the Jets beat New England, probably my niece was probably celebrating her 21st birthday, which is like 10 years ago. because the Jets just can't beat New England. I don't care. And the way, if you watch that game, they lost on a punt return to end the game. Even though if you watch the game, when they got to the 5-yard line, the guy in New England actually hit the guy in the Jets, so they could have caught penalty there. But being the game was in New England, who are we kidding? So I would say with that, I would say 2.5. I think Minnesota will wake up. I think they'll win it by 7, 50, 43.5, 42.5. I see maybe 21-10, 21-13. So I would say maybe stay under with that particular game. Okay, let's talk college because there's actually 4 big games. One game is basically between the number 2 and number 3 team, Michigan and Ohio State. Ohio State is favored by 7.5. Playing Michigan, and the over and under is 57.5. That's a lot. I understand why it's 56.5 because these are two basically, offensive teams, but they could also play defense. So I wouldn't say, I think that's crazy. 7.5 is a lot. I'm not a fan of either one because I'm a Penn State fan. I would say maybe if you want to grab a half a point, grab Michigan with 8 points. I think this will be decided by a touchdown, but just in case there's a 2-point conversion in this game. So I'm looking at maybe 28-21. So the over and under, I think it might be a little bit under anyway. So that's that. Okay, USC playing Notre Dame. USC favored by 5.5. Notre Dame since starting the season 0-3 have won their last 8 games, so they're back. At least for a good play, a good bowl game anyway. No shot at the championship. And USC, if you watched that game last week at UCLA, probably one of the best games I ever seen. The final score was 48-45. So forget defense. The over and under, I think they passed it by halftime. I think it was like 60 something, and by halftime they were already over that already. 5.5 is a lot. I say if you can grab another couple of points, I would say take Notre Dame in 7. The over and under, which is 64.5, maybe 35-31. So that's why I say take Notre Dame with the 4.5. So the over and under be close. Okay, Oregon playing Oregon State. Rivalry game, conference game. Oregon favored by 3.5. Over and under is 58.5. Oregon basically won a game last week, really tight game. They still got a shot at the playoff if they win in one of the top 4 teams like, Georgia, Ohio State, Michigan, TCU lose. But being Ohio State's playing Michigan, whoever loses is going to drop out of that. So this is a huge game for USC and for Oregon. Oregon State, I haven't seen play this year, but again, it's a rivalry game. And being it's 3.5, that's the tough one. I would say maybe take the half, take Oregon State by 4. I think this will be decided by a field goal. Points over and under again, like I said, is 58.5. It'll be close. Maybe 28-24, something like that. And then we got for the Big 12 championship, we got Baylor and Texas. For Texas to stay around at least maybe top 10. Basically, point spread's 8.5. Over and under is 55. The points over and under is 55.5. So 8.5. I haven't seen Baylor play this year, but again, it's a rivalry game. It's a conference game. I would say if you can grab 10 points. I do like Texas in this game, but I think they'll win by a touchdown, maybe like 28-21. Okay, let's talk about the other game. Let's talk about the rest of the Sunday games, and then we'll talk a little football, and we'll talk some World Cup, and that'll probably be it after that. Okay. The first Sunday game we have Baltimore at Jacksonville. Baltimore favored by 4 and 43.5. Jacksonville is playing a little bit better now. Like I told people, Detroit and Jacksonville are the up and coming teams. 4 points in Baltimore. Lamar Jackson's been hurt a little bit, so I would say in this game, I would say maybe just take the under. I don't know about the point spread. It's a tough one. Okay, Denver 2.5. Playing Carolina at Carolina over and under 36.5. This should be another under game. Denver coming off a loss to my Raiders. Thank you for blowing that game. And Carolina just coming off a loss to Baltimore. It's 2.5, so basically it's a field goal game. Carolina hasn't looked that good. Neither team has looked that good. So it could be a tie. I mean, 24-21 maybe. Okay, Atlanta, 4 points. At Washington, Atlanta being favored by 4. Over and under is 41.5. Washington's playing better now. Atlanta's, right, that division with Tampa Bay and Atlanta, New Orleans, it's a horrible division. 8-9, 9-8 is going to win that division. Washington's been playing better now, so being it's 4, I would take Washington with the 4. The over and under I will leave alone because it could end up being a shootout. Tampa Bay coming off a bye week. Playing Cleveland. 3.5 point favored. And over and under 42.5. Cleveland's only shot Cleveland having this game if they get a running game going. If not, might be a long day. But being they got a running quarterback, I think they got a shot at this. Coming off a bye, sometimes, first half, you might maybe want to take Cleveland, maybe. I think Tampa Bay will probably win this game by maybe a touchdown. So 21-14 or maybe 28-21. Cincinnati, 2.5 favorite. Traveling to Tennessee. 42.5. Tennessee is coming up along. They only lost one game. They're a very good team. They got Tannehill back. You got Derrick Henry, who's one of the best running backs in the league. And Cincinnati, well, I like them to win that, the division with Pittsburgh and everybody else that's in that division. 2.5. I'll take Tennessee with the 3. I think they're going to win the game outright. 42.5. I'll leave the over and under alone. Houston visiting Miami, 13.5 point favored at 46.5. I could not tell you the last time Miami was favored by 13.5. Probably in the 70s when they won, the Super Bowl years. Give me Houston in 14. Give me a half. Houston will hang in this game. Maybe like 31-21. Forget the over and under. Chicago traveling to the Jets. Jets favored by 6, coming off a huge loss. Chicago coming off a win, but if you watch the game, Justin Fields' shoulder really got hurt, so he might not play in this game. So right now, the point spread, as we speak about it again, it's only Wednesday. Right now, it's probable. If this changes, it might go from 6 to 10. So I think wait until you find out what the situation is with Fields before you even touch this game. My Raiders going to Seattle, 3.5 point underdog. Seattle favorite, and the over and under is 47.5. Now this reminds me of a couple years back, like a decade ago, when when Oakland Raiders and Seattle Seahawks were in the same division. So this will be interesting to see what happens in this game. Vegas coming off a big win against Denver, and Seattle coming off a loss to New Orleans. If my Raiders defense shows up even a little bit, and the running, Jacobs is having a good season, Adams is having a good season, I think they got a shot at this. Give me another half. Give me 4. I think this will come down to a field goal, like maybe 24-21. The Chargers playing Arizona. Chargers by 3, and the over and under is 48.5. Could be a trap game because Arizona is still without a quarterback. I mean, if you watch the game on Monday with McCoy, he's a decent quarterback, but if you get a decent defense, which I think the Chargers still have, because there's not much of an offense these days, I would basically find out the status of Murray before you touch this game. If he plays, take Arizona. If he doesn't play, you could probably bet the house on the Chargers. Okay, the Rams at Kansas City. Kansas City favored by 15.5. Now, Stafford's on concussion protocol. Coop is out for the season. There's not much still left to this team. If the Rams defense shows up a little bit, they might hang in there. You might maybe grab 17 points, but I think Kansas City probably gonna win this by 21, like 35-14. Forget the over and under. New Orleans traveling to San Francisco. 8.5 over and under 42.5. Now San Francisco's coming off the game against Arizona again with no Murray, 38-10. So 8.5, I think is a lot. I think New Orleans will probably hang in there because of the defense, even though it's at San Francisco. So I say grab another 1.5. Grab New Orleans in 10. I do still like San Francisco to win this game, but by a touchdown, like 28-21 maybe. Green Bay coming off a loss, playing Philadelphia, coming off a huge win, which they should have lost. They were down 16-10. They scored a late touchdown to beat Indianapolis. In Indianapolis, 17-16. 6.5 over and under 46.5. Green Bay's done. That's all I got to say. Not a Philly fan. Want them to lose this game, but I don't see it happening. I think Philly's going to win by 7 to 10 points. And then the Sunday night game, you got Pittsburgh traveling to Indianapolis. Indianapolis 2.5-point favorite after blowing that game against Philly, like I just said. Over and under 39.5. Pittsburgh's been playing a little better. They lost to Cincinnati last week, but they're going to hang in there. 39.5. This will definitely, I think, be an under game. So I say stay away from either team. Okay, let's talk some baseball for a second. As we know, Houston Astros the champs. Yay. The awards came out for basically American League MVP and National League MVP. Now, the American League one was more interesting because it came down to basically Aaron Judge and Ohtani. Now, again, I know that he's a hitter and a pitcher, but I can't go by that. No. You're a pitcher. That's where the Cy Young comes in. So when everybody said, oh, this will be close, no, it wasn't close. At the end of this day, he set an American League record for 62 home runs, over 130 RBIs. How do you lose then? No. And again, a pitcher, I've always said this, pitchers should never be MVPs because there's an award for that. It's called the Cy Young. Okay? An outfield, a regular player that plays every day, almost every day, that plays, all different positions except for a pitcher, okay, is not eligible for the Cy Young. So why should it be him winning? And again, he's pitching every 5 days, not playing every game. So to me, unless he wins 30 games and totally dominates, like 30-5, I can maybe see that. Other than that, I've never understood that. I mean, only one time Steve Carlton, I think back in the early 70s, with a losing team, actually won the MVP, which made no sense to me. So, yes, and for the National League, Paul Goldschmidt of the St. Louis Cardinals won the MVP. So that's 2 years in a row that a first baseman won the MVP. Because remember last year, Freddie Freeman coming from, one doing Atlanta. So I find it interesting that two players, Goldschmidt that was in Arizona, came to St. Louis, and Freeman, doing this, basically going from like Atlanta to the Dodgers, winning the MVP with the Braves, and he was probably in the voting of MVP probably this year also. So let's talk about free agency right now. We know Aaron Judge is a free agent. We know Jake DeGrom is a free agent. Justin Verlander is a free agent. Cody Bellinger is a free agent. Trey Turner is a free agent. There's a lot of free agents out there. Carlos Correa, who played with Minnesota, is also a free agent. So, but I got a feeling that Minnesota is going to throw everything they could to re-sign him. Because if not, I got a feeling he might be going back to Houston. Or what I also heard, which made me laugh, is that the Dodgers are interested in him. Now everybody knows about the whole thing with the with the Astros in 2017 with the the sign stealing and all that stuff. And who was the first team to rip on them? It was the Dodgers. So it reminds me, if you can't beat them, join them, or sleep with the enemy. Look at it any which way you want. But I think the Dodgers going after him, you're a hypocrite. If you sign me, you're a hypocrite, and I think everybody would basically say that about you. Now, it's just as far as Justin Verlander is concerned, Houston would be stupid not to re-sign him. Again, I agree he's going to turn 40. If you're going to sign him, whoever the team might be, 2-3 year contract, give him maybe $30 million a year, and that's it. So I heard right now the teams that are interested in him are my Mets. That's only if DeGrom, leaves. Because if not, that's not going to happen, or even the thought of it. The Dodgers again. The Dodgers basically is now the Yankees. And any Yankee fan knows what I'm talking about. What I mean is the Yankees basically, the whole history is you try to buy championships. Okay, spend as much, but the past couple of, past decade and a half that hasn't happened because again, Steinbrenner's son is not Dad. Dad would do whatever he does, spend as much money on anybody. When it comes to Hal Steinbrenner, not the same. But I heard this year might change. Yeah, well, talk is cheap. Let's see what happens with Judge. So I heard today that Judge threw out an offer to the Yankees. 8 years, $320 million, and if you break that down, that's $40 million in a year. That's basically probably what he's looking for. So unless somebody offers more than that, I don't see him going anywhere. Now, as far as Judge go, I've heard that he's talking to a lot of teams. Dodgers are interested. They're going to go through over the luxury tax if they do. Red Sox, Yankee fans, I ain't going to like that at all. And a team that kind of surprised me, San Francisco Giants. But being he's from the Bay Area, I understand that. But that would definitely be interesting if that does happen. Now, I heard San Francisco this year, being they don't spend much money, they're going to open up the Fort Knox. They're going to go crazy this year. So who's ever free out there to sign, they're going after. Doesn't matter who it is. Trey Turner, again, with the Dodgers, they might re-sign him. Or I heard that the Yankees might be interested. But that's going to have to be through a trade. And then San Francisco is putting their 2 cents to this too. And Seattle also. Seattle, first time making the playoffs again in almost 2 decades. Now they're trying to get more plays, which to me makes a lot of sense. So I can understand that. And then I heard in a mock draft that, Ohtani will go to the Yankees. Yeah, pipe dreams are another one, people. I doubt that's ever going to happen. But, hey, it's baseball. One never knows. So Bellinger, like I said, all those teams, Trey Turner, so it'll definitely be interesting about that. But going to next season, with DeGrom, I've heard the Dodgers. I understand the reasoning behind that. But then I heard the Texas Rangers. Now, okay, you're going to teams like the Texas Rangers, or I heard Verlander is even talking about Baltimore. Now, Baltimore is an up-and-coming team, so I understand that. But again, remember, you're only going to have them for 2-3 years. They're a young team, so I say, if you're going to sign them, multi-year contract, I think the best thing to do, because you're not going to have them more than 3 years. I don't see them going past 43. So, that will be interesting. But yeah, I mean, next year, Baltimore finished over 500 this year, first time in a long time. So they keep what they got. They get some free agents, whoever that might be. Maybe Verlander, maybe through their farm system. And 2, 3 years, they might make the playoffs. They missed it by 2, 3 games this year. So, you got teams like Baltimore and Seattle that finally got things straight, finally got a team there. But as far as the groom going to Texas Rangers, well, if you're going to Texas Rangers, it's only for money. Okay, just like Noah Syndergaard when he went to the Angels, and look what happened. He said, "Oh, maybe something happened there." No, I mean I feel bad for Mike Trout, who's probably one of, if not the best baseball player out there. They'll never win a championship. They have no team. It's going to be you can name all the California teams you want: the Angels, the Padres, the Dodgers, Oakland A's, whatever. Out of all those teams, the only team that probably have a shot, maybe within the next 2, 3 years, to winning a championship, more than likely will be the Dodgers. San Diego's getting there. They did make the playoffs. Oakland just dumped this year. What happened to them? I don't even know. And as far as Anaheim, LA, whatever you want to call them, doesn't matter. They finish. Remember the beginning of the season, they started off so good, and then after they fell apart. Well, that's the Angels. That's the history of them. When Ohtani's a free agent, yeah, they're probably going to offer him a lot to stay. But if not, anybody can get him. Okay, it might be within a division. Who knows? Maybe Houston might go after him. If they probably lose Verlander. All right, so let's talk about the World Cup. Yeah, people, it's that time. All right, so let's talk about the games that happened so far. The season started on Monday, the 21st, with Ecuador being the host Qatar 2-0. Then England beat Iran, who luckily made the World Cup. England won 6-2. The Netherlands beat Senegal 2-0. And the biggest upset so far, or one of the biggest upsets, number 3 Argentina, the number 3 team in the world, lost to Saudi Arabia. Yeah, people, you heard it here first. Saudi Arabia, 2-1. I still can't believe that. And there was a couple of draws. Denmark 0-0 draw with Tunisia. Mexico, surprisingly, 0-0 draw with Poland. France won 2-1. Beat Australia. You had another tie. Another 0-0 tie. Morocco tied Croatia 0-0. And then another big upset. Top 10 team Germany, who's getting older, lost to Japan. Yeah, people, you heard me so far. Saudi Arabia, Japan. This is a heck of a World Cup so far. 2-1. And Spain just put an ass kicking on Costa Rica 7-0. And in another game, Belgium, who's number 2 team in the world, beat Canada. A good game, 1-0. So the next game that I'm going to be talking about is the game that everybody is going to be talking about or watching if you are a soccer fan, even if you're not a soccer fan. You got the U.S. men's team against England, who's one of the best teams in the world, on Friday, the day after Thanksgiving. So the game starts at 2 o'clock on Fox. So everybody, I can guarantee you, if you're a soccer fan, if you're not, you're going to be sitting in your caboose on the couch and watching this game. Now, over and under is 2.5 goals, and the point spread is like plus half a goal, which doesn't really mean anything. So what happens is, if you take a half a goal, if they draw. Now, somebody asked me about this the other day. Like, why didn't they play extra time? In the World Cup, compared to MLS regular season, after the 90 minutes are done, that's it. There's no overtime, extra time, nothing. Only time that happens in the World Cup is semifinals, and of course the finals that might come down to like even penalty kicks. So I don't know about the. I think England's gonna win. I don't think the U.S. men's team has not been good in. I don't know. They're saying this is the best men's U.S. team. They're the second youngest team. They're aged 25 to Ecuador, which I think maybe 24, 23. If they draw, I mean, listen. If you want to take a draw, remember there's been 3 draws in this so far in the World Cup. They have to score first. Let's get that out of the way. They don't score first, this could be just a 3-0 game. If they draw 1-1 and you take the half a point, you win. Because that's the thing, with a draw, that half a point does mean something. 2.5, I don't know. Maybe if it's a 2-1 game, it could be a 1-0 game. I don't know. Over and unders when it comes to World Cups, leave it alone. I wouldn't bother with all that stuff. So that's that. So that's basically it. Wrestling stuff. We got War Games Survivor Series coming up. Check that out on the Peacock WWE Network. You got a lot of different matchups. No titles really up for grabs. It's basically a lot of 6-man tags. So you got the Usos, Roman Reigns, Sami Zayn, and Sami Zayn against the Brawling Brutes, Rich Holland, Pete Dunne or Butch, Sheamus, Drew McIntyre, and the big bonus of this is KO Kevin Owens. Now I like this only because Kevin Owens, I think, will be the person that finally beats Roman Reigns. Because if you remember 2 years ago, or within 2 years ago, that he should have actually beat him if it wasn't for the bloodline. So I think I think Kevin Owens is either going to pin Roman Reigns, or he's going to pin somebody. And maybe WrestleMania, which is in a couple of months, I think that's when I think Kevin Owens will be the person to finally beat Roman Reigns. Then you got another one. With the women, you got Alexa Bliss, Nikki Cross, Bianca Belair, and Darlene Rodriguez against Bayley, Dakota Kai, Io Sky, and a couple of the wrestlers I just can't think about right now. 5-on-5. That's it. It is what it is. And there's and you got a three-way match between Seth Rollins for the U.S. title. Seth Rollins versus Bobby Lashley versus Austin Theory. Now, if you were watching Raw at all, you know Austin Theory lost the Money in the Bank. So now he says that's the best thing that ever happened to him. He's changed, and Lashley's just on a warpath right now. I think Rollins will retain, even though I love to see Lashley win. I don't think it's time for Theory to actually win this thing, because that push to me is not happening anymore, because Vince McMahon's not there anymore. So I think that Seth Rollins will actually retain. The women's title is not for grabs because of War Games. No NXT stuff. So I say give it a watch. AEW. If you watch Top Gear the other day, MJF is the new champ. The trios title between the Young Bucks and Pac and Lucha, they retained. four-way match between Jericho, Bryan Danielson, Sammy Guevara, and Claudio. Jericho retained from help with Guevara. With the MJ match, if you watched it, it was a back and forth match. Moxley had the chance to win. Regal was on the outside at the match. MJF was gonna use the ring. He said, no, I'm not gonna win that way. So Regal basically turned on the Blackpool Club, gave him the brass knucks, knocked out Moxley. There you go, the new champ. Jungle Boy beat Luchasaurus in a steel cage match. TNT Championship between Samoa Joe and three-way. Samoa Joe, Powerhouse Hobbs, and Warlow. Samoa Joe surprisingly is your new champ. I have a problem with this. Samoa Joe's been injured a lot and he's gained weight. He's now at 310, so he can barely even move around. I mean, the guy's still vicious and, forget about the stuff he could do, but I don't think he's going to hold the title out long because of injuries, so I don't really see it having lasting that long. So that's that. The other stuff I'm going to talk about on our sports and entertainment thing in a little while, but that's my picks for college football. That's my picks for football, the World Cup. Like I said, I'm picking Brazil to win the whole thing, but then that's another week away. So once again, happy Thanksgiving. Be safe out there. Don't eat too much turkey or, in my case, fish because I'm a pescatarian. So we will be talking to you soon. Be safe out there. Don't drink and drive. And I'll talk to you soon. Bye.